This will be a fun thought experiment. Before we get started, we should first look at why Sansa would be marrying Tommen instead of Tyrion. Tyrion would have to be permanently removed from the scenario for Tywin to marry her to anyone else. I think the most likely way for that to happen is if Tyrion is killed, probably during the. This will be a fun thought experiment. Before we get started, we should first look at why Sansa would be marrying Tommen instead of Tyrion. Tyrion would have to be permanently removed from the scenario for Tywin to marry her to anyone else. I think the most likely way for that to happen is if Tyrion is killed. Don't take too well to broken marriage pacts, and Willem was killed while being held prisoner at Riverrun. Hello everyone, if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications bell, so you don't miss any new updates on your favorite TV series. Martyn might be an option, but with Jaime in the King's Guard, Tyrion dead, and Lancel just given the lordship over Darry, Tywin might just be planning to give Casterly Rock to Martyn, and he would need someone else in the north. So, he decides to wed Sansa to Tommen. The Tyrells wouldn't have taken part in the plot to murder Joffrey if they didn't have a backup king for Margaery to marry, but I think Littlefinger would have still found a way to get it done without them. Without Tyrion to pin it on, Cersei would no doubt find a way to blame the murder on Margaery and the Tyrells instead. Meanwhile, I think Sansa would come to find that she could manipulate Tommen in a way she never could have done with Joffrey. He was a sweet boy who had no grasp on the Game of Thrones, and at this point she was beginning to learn a thing or two. I don't think Littlefinger would smuggle her out of the city because he'd see that with Sansa as queen after Joffrey's death, he could use her power and position to his benefit. Rather than try to return Sansa to the north and seize control, he could focus his efforts on removing Tywin from King's Landing and rule the Seven Kingdoms by manipulating Sansa into manipulating Tommen. Complicated, right? But just the kind of complicated Peter Baelish thrives on. From there, the entire timeline would probably be so wildly thrown off course that the events that follow could be completely unpredictable, but I'm sure we'd see Sansa follow a similar path to stalwart leadership, though hopefully with a lot less rape. Certainly, he would not have abused her. She would have been happier. But, still wouldn't have escaped Cersei's torment and abuse. I am certain, past a point, Cersei would have preferred Sansa to Margaery. But, something she kind of kicked herself in the ass for. She suggested to Joffrey to put Sansa aside, because the daughter of a traitor is no good for a king. She didn't do that to make Sansa happy, it just happened to be the side effect of it. She did it to torment Sansa, because she was jealous of her. She did not want her to be queen. Truth be told, Sansa would have been a better choice for Cersei at the time, as she was afraid of her and more easily manipulated. Therefore, Tommen would have been more easily manipulated. Tommen and Sansa would have had an awkward marriage, to say the least. Tommen was just a little boy. He and Sansa would have been two kids playing house, while being abused, manipulated, and controlled by Cersei, Joffrey and Tywin Lannister. Tommen was not strong enough to stand up to his family for himself, and definitely not for Sansa. That would have been a terrible situation for him and her. He committed suicide after seeing the September of Baelor blown up and knowing his wife died in it. Imagine what he would have done when the battle for control over him and Sansa began. Thanks for watching, please don't forget to like this video and drop comments. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.